Hey, everyone. I am Dr. Perry Drake, and I am going to talk about optimizing your LinkedIn profile and also how to ensure your social media is rather tight and will benefit you as well in your job search. Let me do a screen share. Okay, and let me get over here. Okay, I've got my screen shared right now. Let me just move this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so let me put this in PowerPoint mode. Okay, let me get that set. All right, so what I'm going to talk about is LinkedIn for success. Okay, one of the first things I just want to talk about here as we introduce this topic is there's really four types of digital footprints. On the positive side, it's your positive digital footprint. You know, you mentioning your professional achievements, community involvement, which of course can be on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, as well as LinkedIn, your contributions and your reputation. Active digital footprints are your posts, your online publications, public reviews, comments, all of those sort of things. Again, you want to avoid the negative, which are controversial sort of posts or comments, engagement out there, unprofessional behavior, through imagery, whatever the case might be, and then also keep in mind your passive digital footprint, which can be negative, but it can also be positive. You just have to be careful, is websites you're visiting, your browsing history, shopping history, all of that sort of stuff. So that can kind of be positive and negative, and I probably should have probably both a check and an X on that one. Okay, let's get to the next slide if I can get it to advance. Okay, let me just make sure that was the next one. Things are going slow. Okay, so again, just reminding everybody here, we're all brands. Again, just a few quick bullets. Your brand is your signature, and when someone asks you to identify a particular kind of HR leader with a known capability in a particular field, your brand can help put you at the top of that go-to list. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. If you're not branding yourself, you can be sure others are doing it for you. A strong personal brand provides a unique human footprint that distinguishes you from potentially planned AI optimized submissions or anyone else out there. 70% of employers say that a personal brand is more important than a resume or CV. So I'll show you some stats. All HR companies comb through and dig through all of your social media to really understand what you're about. And it's important for them that you fit into their culture. And nothing will show that more than how you are acting out there socially on those digital channels. Okay, so think of yourself as a brand, please. We're all brands. So, what I'd like for you guys to do is just quickly think about who you are, what are your values, what do you enjoy, what would your friends say about you? So take a minute right now to write down 5 words or phrases that describe you in a nutshell. And you can pause this video for a second. So think about it. I'm going to show you who I am in just a second. Okay, so again, keep in mind, it can also be deliberate. You can craft your personal brand, and now's the time you might want to start thinking about that, especially if you're a sophomore, junior, going into your senior year, your final year of schooling, whatever that might be. If you're an MBA student, getting ready to take that next step into your adult life. So you can be very deliberate about it, but at the same time, you need to be very authentic as well. So, keep that in mind. Okay, so again, here's me. This is what I'm about. I'm a religious guy, although I will mention I don't really post religious comments or things. I'm in love with my girl Beth. I enjoy cycling. I enjoy running. I love working in the community and with community partners like Girls Inc. or Youth Exploring Science. I love being a professor and being in front of my students. And I eat healthy. This is all me. I'm very consistent in my posting, and my followers know that very clearly. Okay. Again, my personal rules of engagement, no politics or religions are discussed. If people comment on my posts, I like that to show my appreciation for them taking the time to say something. On occasion, somebody might post an inappropriate comment, so I do remove it to keep my social media clean. I love to wish everybody happy birthdays as their birthdays come forward. I avoid anything controversial. I do not jump into any controversial discussions that are out there. And then I also tag people deliberately in posts to get reactions. And I do that a lot on LinkedIn as well. If I have something to say and I know a few people or a few colleagues of mine will specifically be interested in that, or I want them to share something I'm posting, I will tag them in that. And then again, at the bottom there and above all, I'm very consistent in what I do. Okay, need to keep your social media clean. Mentioned that before. Again, just a few articles you guys can read on your own. But again, social media screenings are used quite broadly through the HR hiring process. Tons of examples of companies not giving somebody a job offer because they scrubbed their social media and just found inappropriate behavior, or they did not feel like they would fit into the corporate culture. Just a few more stats on that, just showing, basically 82% of orgs are using social media to recruit. 92% of employers use it to find talent, and so forth. 54% of companies, look at that, have eliminated candidates based on their use of social media. So it's definitely prevalent. So again, if you're a junior, senior, getting ready to go in the job market, go in, clean up your social media, remove some of those inappropriate posts or comments. Just be very critical. Your days of using it for fun, in inappropriate ways are kind of over. And I get it. The digital footprint follows you around everywhere. When I was growing up, I didn't have that. So if I was off having fun with some friends when I was 21, there were no digital footprints of me acting silly or whatever the case might be. Unfortunately, that's not the case for you guys. Okay, let's get back to LinkedIn. One of the most important professional sites out there, first place HR managers and recruiters go to find that next superstar. And so you need to make sure your profile is prime, polished, and ready to go and optimized. Okay, you don't need to get the premium version. Save your money. The premium version allows you to email people within LinkedIn. That's really not something you want to do is a student trying to land a job. That's a little pushy and spammy. It allows you to dig a little deeper into companies and get some insights into stats on certain jobs, etc. But with AI, you can do plenty of that on your own. Okay, optimizing your LinkedIn profile. We're going to kind of talk about this. You need to have a good photo, a good summary, have a good title description. Mention your education, mention any experience you have, no matter what it is. I don't care if it's doing a car wash or you're volunteering at the church washing cars. When you get older like me, those can be peeled out of your LinkedIn profile. It's not going to matter. But for now, you need to showcase everything you're doing and show how hard you're working as a young adult. Post on occasion or like somebody's posts because, again, HR reps can view your activity on LinkedIn. Optimize using certain keywords. So if you're a marketing student, your keywords throughout your profile, title, summary should be digital marketing, social media marketing, digital strategist, Google Analytics, search engine optimization. So you want to think keywords. Follow key industries and groups. So go in and tag and follow those individuals and groups, and then you'll start seeing some of their information appearing in your newsfeed. Upload relevant examples of work and projects as well as certifications that you got, etc. Upload your CV also. I do the same thing. Okay, an example of a good and bad photo. Again, you want a good professional headshot. This is one of the first things an HR rep sees. If they do not like your picture, they are going to say next. So again, you need to show that you're professional. Okay. When you're writing your summary, again, first versus third person really doesn't matter. Six of one, half a dozen of another. Just be consistent. Don't jump around in your profile. I prefer third person over first, but totally up to you, whatever you're most comfortable doing. The other thing that I said is after your summary, you're given the option for a section where you can upload things. So you'll see I have my resume here, and then I have certain certifications that I've done. Not that it really matters for me at this point in my career, but I did these just to show you you can upload certifications. You can upload if you wrote a article for the school newspaper. You can upload that if you did a giant financial analysis of a company as a group project, upload that PowerPoint, whatever the case it is, and just give a little bit of verbiage to put it in context for the employer. Again, like I said, upload your talent, certifications, group projects, papers, articles, add them all to your profile. Now, again, on your other social media accounts, just make sure you have consistent, nice, clean summaries of you. You can see my intro here on Facebook as department chair, professor, digital marketing strategist, competitive runner, cyclist, man of God. My profile picture is different, but it's not so different that a person would say, oh, that doesn't even look like the same person. Like I'm not, here in this picture, guzzling a beer or something along those lines. So you want to make sure there's some connection and thread through them. This is my LinkedIn. And then this is my Instagram. Again, same thing, slightly different bio, but very similar. Okay. Oh, right. So this is Mario. Mario is one of my students pre-COVID, maybe 8 years ago or something. And again, a great headshot, perfect. But if you look at his title line, that just is really not optimized. Senior University of Missouri St. Louis. It's just a waste of a title line. So for him, he was a marketing student, so he should have had digital and social media marketing slash university business student, something along those lines. So again, you want to think keyword rich. So when an HR rep is going in and doing a search, they can find you because you also are going to use those words down in your summary. Now, the other thing, if you notice, Mario did, he was also in the Marine Corps. So again, he did not list that anywhere, but right here. So again, I had him play up a whole paragraph just on that because that really highlights leadership, so to speak. Okay, let's see that job title that I was talking about. Again, you can do it with bars between things. So look at this example, strategist, content strategist, event planner, digital marketing, social media marketing, Google Analytics, search engine optimization. So again, be very specific and deliberate. Okay. Company name, when you are starting to list out a full company name, make sure you think about any acronyms. So like University of Missouri St. Louis in parentheses UMSL. Now, I don't know if I do that. I need to go back and take a look at mine. I may not do that. But to be honest with you, I don't really care if people are searching for me to find a job, but I do care that people can find me when they hear of me. So I should be aware of that. And if I don't have UMSL in there, I need to go back and change that summary. So what I ask all of my students in my classes to do is because they all have to write and perfect their LinkedIn profile, is I ask for 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is what are you studying? The second paragraph is how you're working your way through school. The third paragraph is school activities and clubs. And the final paragraph is your personal side. So, hi, I'm Perry Drake. I'm a senior at the University of Missouri St. Louis studying marketing, including digital strategies, search engine optimization, social media content strategy, Google Analytics, and more. I enjoy this dynamic field because it's being totally disrupted by AI and it's very tech heavy, which makes it very interesting. I'm currently working my way through school 40 hours a week at Schnucks, stocking shelves in the evening as a stock clerk. I enjoy this job. I have been in this role for 4 years, blah, blah, blah. I am currently the vice president of the mathematics club. I am also involved in other school activities and events. I enjoy the university life. On a personal note, I enjoy running, cycling, being competitive, eating healthy, and cooking. So that would be my 4 paragraphs. This was Amber. She was a prior marketing club president of mine, and this is how she did it. Okay, again, think about those keywords. So if you're a marketing student, it might say SEO, Google Analytics, social media strategy, branding, content creation. For accounting students, the keywords might be financial reporting, tax prep, auditing, QuickBooks, data analysis, cybersecurity. Again, these are the keywords you might use there throughout your headlines, summaries, experiences, etc. Keep in mind when you're writing out your experience, put it all because you don't have a lot at the moment. It's going to be summer work that you had when you were 16, 17, internship work, etc. Even if you were a server at Applebee's, for example, don't just say server at Applebee's. I'm sure on occasions you opened, you've closed, you trained new employees, you did. Um, Stock accounting, different things like that. Bullet those out. Always have 3 or 4 bullets because that makes it more impressive. Input any volunteer work that you have, which we have right here. And then also ask for people to possibly endorse you, but don't go crazy. Again, because an employer is going to know you're in school. So to say that you're an expert in digital marketing is probably pushing it a little bit and might look a little spammy and you might lose credibility. So just be careful there. The other thing you can do in your LinkedIn, and then I'll go in mine and show you, is the very last section is where it lists the groups that you're following, like UMSL, like the New York Stock Exchange, like the Wall Street Journal, etc. So be very strategic and find different companies and entities and groups to follow. And what's going to happen is stuff that they push out there will show up in your newsfeed, but it's going to look good from an HR perspective to say, oh wow, Perry's like following all these great thought leaders and entrepreneurs, etc. Okay. This is just a little 10-minute video of me doing what I'm doing right now. Okay, the importance of connections. So keep in mind, connect in with everybody you can. So please, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to remind you one more time to send me a LinkedIn request. I don't let anybody into my network. So you just tell me that you went to my presentation or you saw it, you thought it was really good, and you would love to connect in with me. Bigger networks equal more search results for opportunities. So example, let's say you're applying for a job at Facebook or Boeing and you have no first level connections there, but you do have second level connections. You see that you're connected to me and I have a connection at Facebook or Boeing. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to ask me to introduce you to that Facebook connection that you'd like to meet up with. Okay. So that is the benefit of connecting in with everybody you possibly can so that you always have an inroad into pretty much any company. And I pretty much, with my network, have an inroad into most every company. But I will show you an example of one that I don't. I was trying to search so I could show you that example here in a second. And again, this warm introduction is certainly better than a cold outreach and you trying to connect in with somebody blindly. They're not gonna connect in with you. Okay. Let's see. Should I go there now? Yeah, let's just jump out of here and I'm just going to do it live. So again, let's suppose that I run a large digital marketing conference every year. And let's suppose I really would love to have somebody on the marketing side from Raising Cane's restaurant because I just think they're amazing and how they grew so quick And, the guy that owns it, I forgot his name, big entrepreneur. He's, I think, actually on Shark Tank sometimes. And so I went in, I typed in Raising Cane's, and you could see I don't have any first level connections there. I'm not connecting to anybody there. So I'm thinking, well, let me go second level. So let's go second level. And it's like, wow, Amanda McBride, strategic marketer, brand storyteller, data driven. She is currently at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers in the marketing area. And it's like, wow, I would love to connect to it. Now notice these are my second level connections. So I click on those and it's like, wow, I know Lisa really well. The she's the chair of my marketing advisory board. Gabe, good friends with Gabe. We've had dinner several times. I know Josh. I know a ton of these people. So I might very well reach out to Lisa and click and say, hey, Lisa, well, I'd probably email her. But if I didn't have her email, I'd click and say, hey, Lisa, I see you're connected in with that person from Raising Cane's. I'd really love to get her to speak at my conference. How well do you know her? Can you please hit her up for me and try to connect me? Now, there's a chance she might come back. Oh, I don't really know her that well. So then I go to Gabe and I ask Gabe the same thing. And Gabe, yeah, I just had dinner with her like 3 weeks ago. Of course I will. So this is why you always want to expand your connections as much as possible to work those second and third level connections if that's what you need to do. Okay, so that's what these slides are kind of showing. Okay, again, the power of connecting, connect with people you meet, always follow up with a request. Send me a connection request today. I'll be happy to be a part of your network. And again, why it matters, you never know when I might know the right person or someone in the right organization who can help you get your foot in the door. Love this quote from Tom Farley, the New York Stock Exchange president. Networking is about building relationships with interesting people, regardless of the immediate benefit. I just love that quote. Been using it forever. Okay. And then when you do go in, so let's say you go to an event at UMSL and you meet one of the speakers that's on a panel that Perry has put on. You go up to them, meet them. And again, the one thing you might want to say at the end of that is, would you mind if I sent you a LinkedIn request to link in with you? They're going to say, of course not. Yeah, please do. Now, when you do, don't just send it blindly. There's always the option to add a comment. So always add the comment and say, hey, I'm Perry. I'm the one that came up to you at the panel session at UMSL. And we talked about XYZ. Would love to connect in with you. Thank you so much. So remind them where you're coming from because a lot of us get a ton of requests and I may not remember you without that. Okay, not going to go through this. This is just an article. If you want to just hear some other things about the importance of networking and how to network during your college years. Okay, and lastly, just on some interviewing things, when you're there interviewing, you land the job, they find you on LinkedIn, always before the interview, guys, or before you're going to career fair days at UMSL and you're going to hit up a few companies, make sure you research the company beforehand. Even do some Google searches on news and see what's going on in that company news wise. Check out their About Us page, see what they're doing on social, learn about their competitors, note the locations in the US and abroad. The more you know about the company, the more you're going to impress them. And if you don't do that, it's going to be like, because you're going to have somebody else that would have done that homework. You've got more than enough information at your fingertips for free that there's no excuse for not doing that. Always get yourself a business card. You guys can get them cheap on a lot of different websites. Don't need to list them all here, but give yourself a business card and do a Google search and look at examples of how students lay theirs out to help you figure out how to do that. So carry those around. And then the other thing I do, not so much anymore, but back at the start of me trying to build, I already have a pretty vast network here in St. Louis, but when I first came back to St. Louis in 13 after being in New York City for 28 years and teaching at NYU. I was like really into expanding my network quickly. So I would get business cards. And then when I would get back home after an event, I would jot on the back of each business card exactly where I met them and something unique that I remember about that person. And then I would put that in those little plastic sleeves that had little slits for business cards. And it came in really handy. And for you guys as well. So you guys need to be very strategic about making those connections. Okay. Digital portfolio. The only other thing I'm going to say you might want to consider having is it just gives a recruiter and a potential employer another view of you as it helps showcase your skills, experiences, accomplishments in a way that a resume alone can't. It's almost like a 360-degree living collection of you in a way. So, for example, and it's a website. You can use Google Sites for free. They'll let you build a website, create a unique URL. You can have as many pages as you want. Kind of cool. So that's Google Sites. You can do WordPress as well if you want. But for marketing students, you'd be showcasing campaign projects, social media plans, Google Analytics certification, design samples, flyers that you created for clubs, things along those lines. Accounting students, Excel models, audit case studies, tax research papers, et cetera. You would upload those, talk about them on different pages, and then the same thing for education students. You could do the same thing, lots of stuff. You could do their lesson plans that you created for teaching. These are just some examples of some portfolios. I will show you Mona's. Mona was one of my grad assistants several years back. She was very, very creative. Let me go here. Very good with photography, with video work. She was the social media director at the St. Louis Art Museum, at Hotel 21C Museum, etc. She's done some amazing stuff. This was her landing page for her digital portfolio. She has an about section where I think you can download her resume. She's on several advisory boards. Here's her marketing work, where she's at WashU now at the museum, at Kemper Art Museum. She's listing all her stuff that she's done. She's showing her video work and her photography work, really good photography, and showcasing all of that. So again, she still keeps this current in case she's looking for that next gig. Um, okay, let's see. I've got a couple more examples there too. Okay, so in summary, we covered a lot of stuff, but just be professional in all regards. Clean up that social media, have good imagery on LinkedIn and your social media, etc. Grow your network, as we talked about. That is so critical. It's all about who you know. Polish that LinkedIn profile, do those for summary paragraphs, optimize with keywords. And, after you meet somebody, link in with them, send them a thank you as well, that it was great meeting them. You never know where that connection will go down the road. Okay, so in end, make sure you connect with me, find me on LinkedIn. Happy to do that. There's my mobile, there's my email. Always happy to work with my students in any capacity. All right, that is it. Let me stop sharing. Hope you enjoyed. How do I stop sharing? There we go. My bad. Okay, great. Hope you enjoyed the presentation as much as I enjoyed giving it, and I will hopefully talk with you guys soon.